What's going on, Godzilla Nation? This is our Godzilla. Less than a week to go. The AFL 2021 season will be in full swing. Thursday night, Richmond, Carlton, the tradition that it has been for the last few years now. I am so keen that AFL is back, and not only back, but back in full capacity. We have people in the crowds again. We have bigger quarters. We have more matches throughout the season. As normal as it can be, really, and let's be thankful that we even got here. But with the season just around the corner, it is time for my footy tipping competition to return. So sit back, relax, and I'm about to dive into my tips to begin the 2021 season. Okay, first and foremost, before I do my tips for round one, this is where all the action is at. This URL right here is what you want to be putting into your search bar. The competition code right there when prompted, use it. I will also be putting this into the description of this video, so if you don't want to have to go to thing and copy and paste and all that kind of stuff, just click links down below. It's much easier. Moving on though, once you have gotten yourself into our Godzilla's 2021 tipping competition, you're going to be asked to lodge your tips, and it's time for me to lodge mine. Kicking off Thursday night, as I mentioned, the reigning premiers Richmond. I went way too quick then. It happens sometimes with people my age, I apologise. But we got Richmond taking on Carlton at the MCG. 50% capacity, so we're going to have 50,000 in attendance. Richmond are going to kick things off with a bang. For me anyway. I think we're going to get it done by 32 points. Now that we're back at the MCG, a lot of people are saying we're flat track bullies when it comes to the MCG. This is where Richmond can really put a claim to that three-peat, because we're playing a lot of Melbourne-based games, and I think we're going to kick the season off strong by unfurling our 2 premiership flags and kicking off the year with a big win. Friday night, MCG, Collingwood taking on the Bulldogs. Adam Treloar versus Collingwood. That is, if Adam Treloar gets up from this injury cloud that he's had over his head during the preseason. I am locking in the Bulldogs to get the job done here. Even though you really can't put much stock into the Amy Community Series because they only played one game, every team played one game each, I think Bulldogs looked vastly superior in their game compared to Collingwood against Richmond, which was still a great hit out, mind you. But the Bulldogs midfield look like they are firing, and if Bontempelli, McRae, Dunkley, Hunter, Treloar, if they can all start combining, the Bulldogs could push for a solid finals berth in 2021, and I think they're going to kick it off here against Collingwood. Saturday afternoon, we have a couple of games. We've got Melbourne taking on Fremantle at the MCG to kick things off. I am going to go Melbourne. I think Rory Lobb going down, Michael Walters going down. It's going to give opportunity for Fremantle to give some youngsters some game time, but I think that is a lot of experience that they are missing out on. And Melbourne have now got some structures in place that really we started to see at the back end of last season. I think they're going to implement those a lot more solidly this year. Christian Petrarca, breakout year last year. He could be in contention for the Brownlow this year if he keeps up that momentum. Clayton Oliver. Max Gawn now looking to maybe go forward a little bit to give Luke Jackson a bit of a pinch hit in the ruck. But I think Melbourne are going to start their campaign off strong with a win against Freo. We then go down to Adelaide Oval, where Geelong are going to go for a bit of a travel and absolutely decimate Adelaide Crows. If you haven't seen my predictions video, I will link it in the description down below. I have Adelaide winning the wooden spoon. I think it's going to take more than just one season to get over what they're going through. Had a couple of people leave the club on the off season. They've got some nice young kids that have come in, but I think it's hard to replace people like Brad Crouch, and I think they could have another down year this year. Geelong looked very good against Essendon. They didn't even put the foot down until after half time, I felt anyway. and I think they're going to do a bit of damage here. This is going to be a sizable win. This will have Geelong sitting on top of the ladder by the end of the round. Marvel Stadium, Saturday night, Essendon taking on Hawthorn. I'm going to back Hawthorn, but this is a real 50-50 game in my eyes. I think Essendon have what it takes to get the job done. I just feel... both teams have a couple of outs as well. You know what? I'm going to go Essendon. I'm going to go for a bit of an upset here, go for an outside chance. I think what they showed against Geelong in that Amy community game, even though I said you can't put much stock into it, they walked away from that match, I think, with a lot of heads held high. I think they could start their year off pretty strong. Hawthorn missing Gunston, missing Mitchell. I think there's a couple of others as well. Sicily is another one. So they've still got some players to come back. I think they might start the year off a little bit slow with those players out. That's just my opinion. But I'm going to back the Bombers to get it in. This could be putting a sword into my own foot, but I think the Bombers can get it done. And Saturday night rounds out with Brisbane taking on Sydney at the Gabba. And I always say it is hard to back against Brisbane on their home turf. They're going to be looking for redemption this year. A couple of years in a row now, they've had the grand final in their grasp and they have let it slip. And I think this is the year they can really push for it, especially now with Joe Danaher up there at full forward. Could he be the missing link to their forward puzzle? Who knows? But I think they're going to get a pretty sizable win against Sydney on Saturday night. Sunday has 3 games to round out the round. North Melbourne taking on Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium, and it is simple as ticking Port Adelaide. Another club who has had the grand final pretty much sitting in the palm of their hands and have had it snatched from them, especially last year, finishing as minor premiers, the best team during the home and away season. Richmond obviously managed to get the job done in the end, and I'm going to still argue that they were the best during the year because they're the ones that ended up with the premiership. But if Port Adelaide don't start pushing for that grand final now, their older players like Boak, Robbie Gray, those type of players that have been with the club for so long, they're going to miss their chance. Their window is starting to close. Port Adelaide's window is still very much open, but the window and the doors are closing for a few players at that club, and if they want to reward those players with an opportunity to be premiership players, they need to not only knock on that door, they need to kick that bastard down. Sunday at Giants Stadium, GWS taking on St Kilda, and I am going to back St Kilda here. A lot of you are probably going to say no Rowan Marshall, no Paddy Ryder, they're not going to get the job done because they're now relying on a rookie ruckman. Let's not forget GWS, they might have to refer to a rookie ruckman as well, as either Briggs or Flynn is expected to come in to take that role that Braden Pruce was drafted to the club, but traded to the club for. Jesse Hogan looking to make a stamp and change scenery at the Giants as well. Could he be the person that comes in to replace Jeremy Cameron? Because I feel Jeremy Cameron leaving the Giants leaves a big gaping hole in that forward line. Even though they're trying to say they've got the coverage, when you lose your number one man, it's going to be very hard to replace. But I think St Kilda have the makings of what it's going to be. They could potentially finish top 4 this year, my personal opinion. And I think they're going to start their year off strong with a win away from home against GWS. And to round things out, West Coast at home, just like Brisbane, very much like Richmond, teams that you don't back against when they're playing at home. West Coast at Optus Stadium, you just don't back against, and they're going to get the job done quite comfortably against the Gold Coast. Upset of the round would be Gold Coast knocking off West Coast round 1 at Optus Stadium. That would be my upset. My certainty would definitely have to be Geelong over Adelaide. I'm going to go with that certainty because we've seen Carlton push Richmond to their limits. We've seen Richmond do very slow starts to their years, so Carlton could upset. I'm not going to be cocky and say, oh, Richmond's got it in the bag. So I'm going to go something else. I'm going to say Geelong is going to absolutely flog Adelaide. And just to have a look at my tips overall, recapping, Richmond, Bulldogs, Melbourne, Geelong, Essendon, Brisbane, Port Adelaide, St Kilda, and West Coast. And I'm going to save those changes because we all know last season that I had that issue where 1 week my things didn't save and it caused a bit of ruckus in the comment section. So there we go, we got it done. And just for a little added bonus, I'm gonna enter the gauntlet, and I'm gonna choose Geelong for my gauntlet pick as well. That is it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me as always. I do hope you get on board with the competition this year. I will be giving out prizes again this year for people that finish certain positions. We might even do a first, second, third scenario. I am going to leave it open for people to join up until a certain round. I haven't dictated what round that'll be yet. Probably round 5 or round 6 will be my cutoff. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. But as I said at the top of the video, if you want to join my league, description down below, there is a link. Follow that link, use the league code, and get in there before this coming Thursday night. And make sure you got your tips entered because you don't want to miss out. If you're keen for the season to get underway, be sure to hit that like button down below because it goes a long way to supporting myself. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below, silly. Help your boy out. It'd be hugely appreciated. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here. Good luck to your teams next weekend. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.